All right, we still got plenty of earnings reports and things to look at, but I'll also take a look at the gapper. One thing that clearly stands out to me is MSTR up today. So that's probably what Bitcoin up decently. I don't know.
For
Joel
sure.
can take a look at that to kind of confirm for us. Bitcoin was up, right?
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
easiest trade that's there. Is
Easiest
like
trade,
Bitcoin's
right?
obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're seeing regionals, getting killed last night, Bitcoin buy is the buy. I mean, so it's up again here, and all those Bitcoin stocks are the buy. That's the obvious trade. Captain Obvious here. As more regional banks collapse, it's only good news for Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin was created. It was created because of the unstable financial system and the printing of money. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to print their way out of all this too. I mean, the FDIC is going to have to insure all these banks that are going to go under. That's the taxpayer dollars. How are they going to do that? They're going to just print more money. Government's going to come in and just keep printing. So you know what? As much as I've not liked Bitcoin, this is the environment for Bitcoin. And I'm bullish Bitcoin here as long as regional banks keep collapsing.
All right, we'll see what happens there. I do see another one here that is interesting to call out. Right here, RCL. When they reported their earnings today, they're up significantly here in the pre-market. Let's take a look at that. Nice little push there. You guys can see it. They came in with their earnings here at a loss of 23 cents, beat the loss of 70-cent estimate. Sales of 2.88 billion, beat the 2.82 billion estimate. And yes, Royal Caribbean, you can thank me for that earnings there. I tried to help out. Tried to put some in there for you.
And you gave us good information coming back from that cruise and telling us how busy it was, like right there, boom. And it's in the earnings. There's certain things that are just happening. The problem is like UAL has good earnings and it pops up and then it gives it back. So I'm like, I don't know, like if it's sustainable, if the move is sustainable. I'm with you. Like, I mean, you're looking out there and stuff is still busy. There's still stuff going on. It doesn't feel like we're slowing yet. So, I mean, RCL was kind of that's never a no-brainer, but it ran up into the report maybe a little bit too much from 60 to 67 and now to 72. So it's probably at 75. It's probably more of the profit-taking area here, but it was, it was a little bit obvious that this was going to beat. And right now expectations are so low for everything. Any company that beats, it goes up. I mean, talk about Budweiser. I mean, we know Budweiser has got some problems with the Bud Light, but that really wasn't in this earnings report because most of that stuff happened at the tail end of it. So Budweiser comments are fine. Budweiser goes up because they beat earnings. I don't know if that's going to be like next quarter because I don't think anybody's buying Bud Light as much as they are because the sales are down 21%. But, they got a lot of other beers in there too. Maybe they're going to fix those problems in the short term. But, I mean, people just coming here, buy Bud. I mean, okay.
This RCL that got a shot in the arm a couple days ago when there was an upgrade. Can't remember who the analyst was on NCLH. That pushed it through the $65 area. You can see that was at the end of last week, and then things were open up between 65 and 70. Now you cleared 70. Dennis gave you that $75 area. I will just give you one daily high above that. That's if you're looking for potential targets on the upside, 73.51 and 75.17 on the upside. This is probably helping CCL Carnival Cruise trying to head up towards the $10 area. So there's your sympathy play, and I think another NCLH is probably still going too, huh? Big level NCLH, folks. We got a 4-star here at 1463, 1464, and 1466. Triple top. S&P's good call there, Dennis. Trying to poke their head into the
Why not?
Under. Why not? Buy the dip, right?
They've written off the banks. They've written off KRE. They wrote off FRC. They're writing off PACW after hours. They're writing off FHN. They don't care. The market.
I think it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time.
We keep saying that though, Mitch, and it just doesn't happen.
I know, but
buying tech stocks. So they don't care. Maybe they care if Apple misses, but you know what? The bar just got lowered by Qualcomm, so Apple's probably going to beat, it's going to gap up, and then the S&P will be back up here at the highs, and we'll be like, what's up? So I have no idea anymore. It's just a very difficult market to call. Very difficult.
We'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of me, I'm just going to be watching also the bigger banks, but because if the bigger banks start really coming down, that's going to be a little bit different. Regional banks is something, whole nother ball game. If you start seeing Bank of America go down to 20, I've talked about it already. I'm just going to keep watching that.
I'm with you, and I'm not going in here and just buying all these stocks, but the timing, is just from a trading perspective here. I'm actually just in shock that the S&P can go up when we're going to lose all these other banks here. And you can see the writing's on the wall. I mean, this isn't like, oh, I'm making a call here. The PACW is probably going under. The market is making that call. I'm just looking at the price action. It's fairly obviously on FRC. There's, WAL. I mean, there's a half dozen other banks that look just as crappy. So they all look like they're going to go bang, 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 bang. That's what the market, and the market just does not care. It does not care that the KRE continues to go down. We're bouncing a little bit here, overall, which is obviously helping the stocks here because some of these banks are bouncing right now. But, does that mean they're out of trouble? No, but again, I don't know what makes SPY start to care about the regionals when there's such a small component and they're comfortable that, a lot of these big tech stocks have a lot of cash. So I don't know. You can tell I'm frustrated today, very frustrated. It's not really, I'm having a bad trading day, but it's more just the lack of logic in this market is just mind-boggling. I've traded and made my career not looking at charts, looking more at logic and trying to get ahead of, where the trades, coming from. And it's frustrating because this market is just completely ignoring so many tells. And this was the same way in 2007. And I'm not saying we're going to the financial crisis, but I was frustrated with that market here too because you could tell what was going on. Think about the big short guys, how frustrated they were, when they were seeing, these mortgages, seeing, and the market not responding. And obviously, they're the private market, so they weren't even like pricing stuff what they should be pricing it at. But I mean, there is certain times where eventually logic wins, but that's not this market right now. You can't trade this market logically, not right now.
I think it's just a matter of time, but that's just the way Dennis feels. That's the way I feel.
No, I'm with you, Mitch. I am totally with you that I think it's a matter of time too. Because if I thought that, it was, that this is really, that throw out logic, we're just going to buy stocks blindly, I would get off 60% cash and I would just buy all stocks. I would go 100% all in. But I'm not doing that because I'm with you here. But as a trader, my job, I make majority of my money trading. That's my income. So, as a trader, I've got to try to ignore this bias, that I have that I think the markets need to go down a lot lower and just trade what is in front of me. And, and that's why I probably struggled in March. You've got to, as a trader, you got to just clear your mind and trade what's in front of you. And what right now, the trade is when regional banks are going down, you buy tech. And you just got to blindly do that. Don't think about it logically because it makes zero sense logically. You just have to think about what the algos are doing. That's what they're doing. So until that trade breaks, and it's going to take a big report to break it, it's going to take like an Apple, and we're through most of them. If Apple beats tonight and goes up, there's no more for another 90 days. There's no more concerns from Microsoft or anyone for that long. So I mean, you can't just stay here, bearish, on your trading and then be losing money on this because the market is just not coming in. Now, again, as a long-term investor, I'm staying with cash because none of this makes sense. David Trainer makes sense to me. I think logic prevails in the long run here, which is why I'm not fully invested. But as a trader, I think you got to just be buying tech on dips because this is what continues to work.
All right, let's take a look at Regeneron as they reported their earnings here. Also, it was a beat and a beat. So interesting to see this getting hit here. Regeneron adjusted EPS $10.09, beating the $9.60 estimate. Sales of $3.16 billion beat the $3.0 billion estimate. So I'm not sure where in this report it did not look good, but definitely a little pullback here, down to 770s. It did have like this. Was this real? Was this a real print there to 726?
Well, it's real. I mean, a couple hundred shares traded. I don't
see it.
Yeah, that's why I was taking a look at it.
I got it on my platform. But the other thing, I did, boom. I look at this chart and I say, wow, we're down 33. But you know what? I don't know if this was drug. It must have been some kind of drug news. But you had a double top at 765. Then you gapped up to a new all-time high. So opening right into that area, I don't know about that 726 print. But my focus would be the candles, the two candles from March 21st and March 22nd. You almost had matching rain days on the highs at 765 and matching range lows on the downside, 751. We'll see what happens in REGN.
All right, let's keep going. We'll see some other ones here that are starting to show up. Of course, we've talked about Para. We talked about how Apple's been leaking, but that's starting to make its way back, right? I mean, let me just take a quick little peek. Yeah, you can see it's starting to make its way back. We'll see what happens there on Apple.
They can't stop buying the dip match on them. There's
just
so many people who are like, where can I go? And I got to think like a money manager here too. And
I mean, the FOMO came, right? The FOMO came like a week or two ago, right? When we started seeing that rip.
For sure. And if you're a money manager and you've got to buy stocks, well, you're not buying regional banks. You're not buying, these high debt companies here right now, which they've been hitting. You're going to buy the near debt-free companies, which is mega cap tech. So it kind of does make sense. It's just the valuations. I wish these things were all trading like 20 times earnings, because it'd be a different story. It's just like they've driven them to such valuations that I just can't stomach them up here.
It's just hard. It's a hard market. It isn't a market that's just easy. I'm taking shots on different areas. I went short like Goldman Sachs, just looking to see this start coming down. And just keep watch on the bigger bank. Let's just be honest. That's what everyone's going to be watching too. And we'll see if tech can bounce back. Do they buy Qualcomm's report back? I mean, that's still leaking down towards the lows. We'll see. AMD, will this be one to buy the dip on, right? I mean, it was sideways yesterday, kind of sleepy. Is this the kind of stock that you would expect maybe to buy the dippers to come in on, Dennis? As it's kind
maybe,
of
but it's not a big part of the index. So what you're really seeing, and kind of, as a light going on for me too, is they're buying. They're not always just buying. Shopify's got earnings report, but they're buying the big things in that index that don't have a lot of debt. That's what they're gravitating to. I mean, AMD is not a big part of the S&P. NVIDIA is a much bigger part of the S&P. So, I mean, you've got to consider, and
the
maybe
indexers,
we percentages.
Yep.
The index action here, I think we